When we first set foot on the moon on July 20th, 1969, it was a moment of joy for all mankind. Humans around the world celebrated, yet with that celebration came an undertone of humans finally facing their most deep-seated and primal fear, that fear of the unknown, feeling of knowing so little, and the feeling of fragility in the vast expanse of space. This fragility and this feeling was exemplified during the previous mission, Apollo 8 in 1968, when astronaut William Anders took a picture of the Earth cresting over the moon's surface. This picture now is known as Earthrise. Now, when I show you this image, and when people see this image, it invokes this sense and feeling of wonder, of mystery, and of achievement. Rightfully so. It is one of the first pictures of our planet from outer space. However, to me, it invokes a sense of fear, a sense of fragility. That is because everything that has ever occurred, every minute of human history, every minute of this planet's history has occurred right there. Everything we know, everything we love, everything we have learned has occurred within the scope of that floating blue ball. That, if anything, represents just how insignificant we are. The things we spend ages building, the things we spend ages crying and thinking about, mean absolutely nothing in the vast expanse of the universe. But, at the same time, that doesn't mean they don't mean anything to us. Sure, to the universe it may not matter whether Earth is there or not, but to you and I it does. And that is enough for us to understand and recognize that just because we are insignificant in the eye of the universe, we should not be insignificant in front of each other's eyes. However, tangent aside, looking at this image can invoke a different fear, astrophobia. Now that we've mentioned astrophobia, it's important for us to define what is astrophobia exactly. Astrophobia is widely known as the concept of being naturally afraid of space and stellar objects. Astrophobia can present itself as a severe and irrational fear of stars and space. Yet the question must also be asked, why is that fear so prevalent? Phobias in and of itself are developed from a fight or flight response, which is developed from fear, and fear is only attributed to things we perceive as threats. So why do we perceive stars as threats? Why is it that when some people look up to the vast expanse of space and see the moon, they're afraid? What compels us as humans, as a species, to be afraid of the vast unknown? That is the mystery. So let's delve into a few topics which might explain our fear and what leaves us feeling so uneasy about space and its massive expanse. So the first thing I want to talk about when it comes to why we're so naturally afraid of space, and that is our sense of scale, which is basically how we perceive size and distance. Now, this is based on what we know from everyday life here on Earth. We adjust size by comparing things to ourselves. If we're standing next to a building, or if we are standing in front of the ocean. But space ends up shattering any notion or any frame of reference that we have. There are no buildings, there's no trees, there's no grass, there's no familiarity up there. The distance between stars, between solar systems, between galaxies is vast, billions of light years across. And the sheer emptiness between everything is beyond our ability to grasp. If I tell you to visualize a space which is able to fit 100 solar systems, it is impossible to visualize that. But if I tell you to visualize 10 football fields, it's a lot easier because we have a frame of reference. Imagine trying to comprehend that light traveling at 186,000 miles per second takes over 4 years to reach the nearest star beyond our sun. The sheer scale of the universe confronts us with a terrifying sense of smallness and isolation, amplifying our vulnerability in a way that no other thing can. This unimaginable vastness is like staring into a dark, endless ocean that we can never fully map, much less explore. The size of space humbles us, and this also taps into our primal fear of being lost, insignificant, and truly alone in a boundless cosmos that hold things that we can't even begin to understand. Now, to help this put into perspective, let's take a through some of the objects which are largest in space. So, the first object that I'd like to look at is TON 618. TON 618 is an extremely popular black hole which has shown up a lot of times in online forums. And while it has been depicted as a black hole, it is in fact, strictly speaking, a quasar, which is powered by the supermassive black hole that surrounds it. And I think that makes it a hell of a lot scarier that a quasar requires that much energy to be powered. The scale of TON 618 has been popularized in many online forums as well, but to put it into perspective, TON 618 is 30 to 40 times the diameter of not our sun, but the entire solar system. We can fit multiple solar systems within TON 618 and still have an incomprehensible amount of space left over. Not only that, but we view TON 618 as it was around 10 billion years ago, not how it is today. So in that time frame, who knows how much it must have expanded. TON 618 truly is one of the most terrifying things to exist, and it is so incomprehensibly large that looking at it, you might not even realize you're looking at it. All you would see is distorted light and emptiness. Usually black holes are depicted as bending the light that crosses into them, but how can light be bended when your perspective is so small and so shrunk that you can only see a fraction of the size of that black hole? You wouldn't even know it's coming for you until it's already there, and that makes it terrifying in my opinion. The next object we'll be looking at is not an object, but rather the absence of objects. That is the BoS Void. On a clear night sky, when we look up, we see thousands of stars, galaxies even if we're lucky. And we know that beyond our sky there's an infinite amount of those objects. But what if, beyond our own galaxy, there was simply nothing? A vast, incomprehensible void full of nothing but roving black holes and empty space. That would be our reality if we woke up in one of the mere 60 galaxies that occupy around 300 million light years of absolute emptiness. The BoS Void still has no origin. We don't know what caused it, and we don't know why it's there. Supervoids are common, but not supervoids like this. The center of occupied space. Why is there empty space? Why is there dead space? What happened to the galaxies in it, and what caused the galaxies to form that way? It would be so bad that if humanity was to spawn in there, we wouldn't even know about there being other galaxies until around 1970. The BoS Void is terrifying not because of how large it is, but because we don't know what it is, and we don't know what caused everything within it to simply disappear, or if there was anything there at all. Now that we've discussed scale and size, the next thing I want to talk about is related to life itself. For decades, if not centuries, humanity has gazed up upon the stars and theorized. It was a recurring question across the ages, which is, if the universe is so vast, where is everyone? Why is it that despite the size of the universe, and in fact despite the size of our own galaxy, we've not come across any sign that life exists outside of our bubble in the solar system? The mainstream answer to this would be that we simply have not explored much outside of our galaxy. Our farthest man-made objects have only recently crossed the threshold of the inner solar system, and are nowhere near the Oort cloud, and our radio signals have borne no fruit. Yet despite that, there remains the notion that there are other theories. This is classified as the Fermi paradox. If the universe is so vast, where is everyone? There are two specific theories which I would like to discuss. The first one will be the dark forest theory, and the second will be the rare earth hypothesis. The dark forest theory, in my opinion, is the most terrifying theory. Imagine the universe as a dark, dense forest. In this forest, every civilization, every intelligent life form is like a hidden hunter, afraid to make a sound. Why? Because they know that there may be other hunters out there, watching and listening. They know that if they reveal themselves, they risk being found out by someone or something dangerous. This is the core of the dark forest theory. It suggests that advanced civilizations choose to stay quiet, hiding their presence to avoid the risk of being discovered by hostile aliens. They may see any civilization as a potential threat, just as we may fear a stranger in a dark forest. This theory could explain why we haven't found any signs of intelligent life outside of our solar system. Maybe they're out there watching just as cautious as we are, wondering if they're alone, or if they're not. However, humanity has been sending signals out into space, a massive beacon to anyone or anything listening for activity. And if something was approaching us, and if something knew we were here, we simply wouldn't know. And even if we did, what choice do we have against an intergalactic hunter? The next theory I'd like to discuss is also plausible, and that is the rare earth hypothesis. This positions that the conditions for allowing complex life to evolve are incredibly unique, which makes Earth an extraordinary exception in the universe. While microbial life might be common throughout the cosmos, the jump from that Intelligent, complex life, like us humans, requires a very specific set of circumstances. Let's think about it for a second. Our planet is perfectly situated in the habitable zone around the sun. We have a stable climate, a large moon that helps regulate tides, and a protective magnetic field. These factors, along with geological stability and a diverse range of factors, create a delicate balance that nurtures life. The hypothesis suggests that such a perfect combination is exceedingly rare, meaning that while there could be many planets with basic life forms, complex civilizations like ours might be few and far between. And factoring that in with the vast expanse of space, it makes it even less likely for us to encounter each other. But when we gaze into the night sky, we might be looking at a universe filled with the building blocks of life, but not necessarily the life that culminates from those building blocks. And that, if anything, makes our own existence even more precious. So, after going through all of these things and realizing how fragile and how little we truly know about the universe, it leaves us all with a question. A question of where does humanity go from here? A question of how do we tackle these stars? And frankly, that's a question that may not be answered in my lifetime or even my children's lifetime. We would be lucky if humanity ever gets to explore the stars like it's been popularized in shows like Star Trek, but we don't know if we'll ever actually get there. Space is cruel, space is mean, yet space is beautiful. Space gave us life, yet space can just as easily take it away, and there would be very little we can do about it. Just as the dinosaurs met their fate to an asteroid, humanity, to some extent, might also make that own fate. And if not from an asteroid, it will be ourselves who take away this gift that has been given to us by the universe. Humanity is not the center of the universe. We are far from it. The universe does not revolve around our existence, and the universe does not care if we were to one day blip out of existence. And I think, on that note, we owe ourselves something. As a species, humanity owes itself the best, because this is the one chance that a civilization has to actually make it in this universe. Because just as the rare Earth hypothesis suggests, if we are a blip, an anomaly in the universe, it is even more important for us to preserve our planet and our way of life. It is important for us to preserve our species, which is why at the end of the day, I want you all to consider things that we love about this planet and things we love about our life. Because even if there are other civilizations out there, we are exceptionally unique. And that is not us as a species, but us as individuals. On that note, I'm going to leave us here. Thank you, everyone. Have a good day.